Since we're going to define things so carefully, let's do it.
There we go.
Okay, guys, sorry, but we really have to move on. So there will be more
questions.
questions.
Oh, man, bro. Bro, come on, man. Stop doing that, bro. Let him have the conversation. Let them have the... But I would like to know, what do they describe as toxic masculinity? Let's go.
Hi, Jordan. My question is, what is the antidote towards toxic masculinity?
Well, the antidote is responsible masculinity. And what does responsible mean? It means, well, if you're responsible, then you're trying to do what's honest first. So you're careful with your speech and your actions. You're careful with your speech in that you don't say things that you know to be false, and you're careful in your actions so that you don't have to lie about what you do. That's a good start. And then the next thing would be that you're capable of taking responsibility for yourself, at least, so that once you're an adult, no one else has to bend over backwards to ensure that you don't unduly suffer in the world. And so that's responsibility for yourself. And then if you get halfway good at that, well, then, you know, you might think about taking on the responsibility of a family and contributing to your community and doing all those things in a harmonious manner. And that's obviously the antidote to toxic masculinity, which is not a phrase I would generally use. I just think about it as, you know, what would you call it? I think sin.
I mean, those things were not bad, though, right? We all agree that. Lie, integrity, courage, you know, all those good virtue that has been, you know, let's say praised by humanity. I find that very well traits, in my opinion.
Sinful behavior is a much more accurate representation, personally, but it's honesty and responsibility. And I do think about it as a function of harmony. I got that a lot from reading Jean Piaget, whose work was a psychological extension of Kant's categorical imperative, because Kant believed that you should act in a manner such that if the way you acted became a universal, that would be beneficial. And
you guys are the one talking in the corner. It's very disrespectful.
But Piaget formalized that very nicely, showing that one of the bases for the emergence of a system of genuine ethics was an iterable form of reciprocity, so that, you know, so for example, I can give you a quick example of that. My granddaughter, who's now 15.
Do you think she's listening? Is she listening, or she's being ready to attack? I don't think she's listening. I think she's ready to attack.
15 months old, has discovered a new game, and it's a Piagetian game, a developmental game, and she discovered this by watching, but also on her own, and partly because it's a very deep part of human nature. So she has this little wooden spoon, and her game is, you sit with her at the table, and her game is, she gives you the spoon, and then you take it, and then you give it back, and then she's all happy about that, and then she gives the spoon to the person who's sitting beside her, and then they give it back to her, and she's very happy about that. And so it's an amazing game, because she's learned to give up something, to let go of something that she wants, and to trust someone else to return it to her, and that's what she's playing with. And then you can play with that game. It's quite fun. So, you know, and you have to pay careful attention to her and watch how she's manifesting her emotions. And so maybe what you do is you take the spoon and you hide it under your hand. That sort of disconcerts her a bit. Then you show it to her and pick it up and give it to her, and she's happy about that, because what she sees is that the principle of reciprocity can maintain itself across a set of transformations, and that's really exciting to her. Or you can give her the spoon, and she can give it back to you, and then she can reach for it, and you can pull it away 1/4 of an inch, and that sort of disconcerts her, and then she'll...
See, she's not ready to listen.
You want to repeat that?
I'm sorry. I said that didn't cover really a toxic masculinity, right? Because
yes, it's dealing with dealing with the principle of reciprocity.
You just said that you have to be honest and responsible.
You see, I told you she was not listening. She was not listening. She was ready to just have a combative conversation.
As a man, right?
Well, put it this way: When I'm giving the spoon back to my granddaughter, I'm not engaging in toxic masculinity. And that was the point that I was trying to make, is that, and this deep reciprocity and trust is part of the social contract, and it is precisely the antidote to what precisely, since we're going to pursue this, what precisely is toxic masculinity? As opposed to, say, toxic femininity.
There we go. That's a trap.
or
Let's see if she
toxic
can define it.
humanity. What exactly
Let's
are
see if
you
she can
asking
define
about?
it.
I really want to know what you like.
There you go. Answering with a question. Answering with another question. That means that doesn't want to engage in the conversation.
How you would describe toxic
No,
masculinity.
now she want him to describe what the toxic masculinity. In that way, she can have leverage. No, man.
No, I want you to define what toxic masculinity constitutes. Since we're going to define things so carefully, let's do it.
There we
Well,
go.
I think
Okay, guys, sorry, but we really have to move on. So there will be more questions.
Oh man, bro, come on, man, stop doing that, bro. Let him have the conversation. Let them have the conversation. Let her feel uncomfortable. Why do you have to be such a simp and just saving her? Why do you have to be a simp and saving her? Let her have the conversation. I spoke about that in the other video. People tend to do that stuff. Defending females like that. No, let her go through that process. She needs that.
Questions later on.
Hey?
There will be a lot of opportunity.
No,
to
but
ask
maybe
questions.
let's if you okay, so let's define it shortly.
All right, shortly, please.
Okay. I think that the moment when you kind of I have a hard time to kind of describe it in English.
The reason that the audience went crazy because we all know you're saving her, bro. Don't save her. She wanted to play with fire. Let her burn with the fire, man.
Let's say.
Bro, I have to calm
gosh,
down, bro. We got here. I don't like that.
That you kind of
She doesn't know.
go over a boundary that kind of neglects the freedom of
The hell she's talking
opposite,
about?
well, gender or whatsoever. So that's toxic masculinity, and that you kind of have.
But
this
that would also be toxic femininity.
Well, may I like finish my sentence,
Sure.
please? Thank you.
That's toxic
And then
femininity
also,
right there. See?
I lost.
Passive aggressiveness. I can say that's toxic femininity, but I don't. I just call it being a bad person. That's it. See, I don't have to play this gender stuff. You being disrespectful has nothing to do with gender.
My sentence now, but
Passive aggressive.
No, I will be back. I'm back.
Passive aggressive. Bro, now you have to interrupt and say, hey, we're not going to do this. But you're not doing it. See? Because you're simping.
But more in the sense that
Jordan Peterson is laughing because he knows he won the argument.
Okay,
Look
so
at-
before we move on, let me point something out. You know that I was willing to undertake this line of discussion, allowing for the possibility that the category of toxic masculinity had some content, right? But if we're going to pursue that line of reasoning and quibble about the answer, then we're certainly going to quibble about the definition that's embedded in the question. And so part of what's happened in our discourse is that we're required ethically to assume a priori, merely out of politeness, that the utterance toxic masculinity actually constitutes a meaningful phrase.
It doesn't
And
mean
if
anything.
you push it, you find very rapidly that it doesn't.
It doesn't
It's
mean anything.
very, very, very difficult to define, and definitions actually matter. And so if it's a matter of
You got humble.
transgressing against
Good for
the
you.
boundaries
You're
of
humble.
gender-appropriate behavior, well, first of all, that indicates that there's something universal and normative about gender-appropriate behavior, which is something that people who push the idea of toxic masculinity generally tend not to presume. And
They
second,
portray
it's
that.
just as likely to happen among women as among men, in which case it's not toxic masculinity. So maybe on to the next question.
Okay.
Oh, he destroyed her, bro. He destroyed her. Nice job, Jordan Peterson. He's very good what he does. I like it. He's very good controlling the conversation. Sometimes he just lets himself to go, but in this case, he controlled it very well. And this is where you have to just be careful, because sometimes when you speak with this kind of individuals, right? They're mostly projecting. So you have to just put them in a position where they have to describe themselves, and that's why they answer with another question. That's what happened to her. That's why she instead of just answering the question, what is toxic masculinity, she had to say, no. So why you don't define toxic masculinity? You see what I'm saying? She got caught. She was not. She wanted to play with fire without getting burned. And shout out to the audience to noticing this simp guy just trying to save her. Don't do that. Why are you doing that? Let her have that experience because she needs it, bro. You notice that she's stuck. And I understand it's a male thing. We tend to do that. We see a female in a bad situation, we want to protect her. No, right now it's not. It's not the moment to do that, right? It's not the moment to do that. It's the moment to just let this conversation flow. Of course, there's nothing. The thing that she was projecting, it was toxic behavior. I can say it was toxic femininity. I'm not doing that. It's a toxic behavior. Has nothing to do with masculine or feminine. It's a toxic behavior. As simple as that. Very interesting video. Shout out to Jordan Peterson to doing a great job shutting down that conversation and just allowing responsibility flourish between the both of them. Very good. Yeah. Don't simp. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'm gonna really appreciate it.